My hat! For the body, I'm going to follow the following lines. So here it's just these lines. These are normal. But then here I'm just going to go straight up. So I'm not going to do these little cutouts, mainly because this is the dirt version. So it's just a straight line up here, and then the long line right over here, and then come back around. Front end, I'm going to go all the way to the edge for this one. If you were running the other version, you would probably cut it there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I do have some curved scissors. I wish they made some that were the other way. But anyway, I mean, yes, you can flip them, but that's not what I mean. What I mean is this blade sits on this side, and here, this is just curved the other way. So when you're cutting, right, you can use them just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go here with straight lines. Now you need to be careful with scissors. One, make sure they're very sharp. If they're dull, don't bother. Just recycle the materials and get new ones. But be careful because sometimes they'll run on the Lexan and you can accidentally stab yourself. So please be careful. If you're new, have somebody guide you, especially if you're really young. Adult supervision, always. Conscious adult. Well, I guess an adult that is sleeping can't really supervise. Here we go. Now one of the things that I'm trying to avoid is to close the scissors all together, because sometimes when you close on the tip, you get a little crease on the Lexan. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and run this through straight. Just straight out. And I'll fix the rounded edges later. I'm just going to remove some of the excess material, and then I can do some of the trimming later on. And then sometimes it's good to cut those little angles, because those are generally the challenge when cutting. But if this is your very first buggy or very first hobby grade RC, or you're new getting into the hobby, yeah, it just takes a little bit of patience. It's actually quite satisfying once you see the final product, assuming you didn't screw it up badly. And even if you did, you generally learned from it, so no big deal. Here we go. I mean, eventually all bodies will wear, so you will have to get a new body. Now, these curved scissors aren't really made for straight cuts, so if you try to make a straight cut, it's a greater challenge because you have to go slower when cutting. All right. And there we go. So there is the back portion. So again, I'm going to keep these because I don't need to cut them out for this setup. Now, I recommend that you do just the straight lines, and then you can go back with the curved scissors and just do all the rounded edges. So just try to get as much material off as you can. You do not need. This is another moment where I wish these scissors were the opposite direction. Just makes it easier to cut. So this is the example. So if I go here, the bottom blade is on the outside. If I go here, the bottom blade is on the inside. So So that's what I mean by reversed scissors. I've not been able to find any. If any of you know of any of those scissors, please let me know, because I would certainly be interested in buying a pair, straight with the blade on the other side, and then the curving the other direction. Let's see, here we go. Just going to continue through to there, and then I'm just going to cut this section. All right. I guess I can always cut this way. And that would solve that issue. So maybe the straight blade is not really that big of an issue, but the other one is. So here, let's see. So I'll stop there. See, now my fingers are in the way. I have to hold the little strip instead of the body. Again, watch your scissors. This is not the time where you want to push the scissors to just kind of slide through the Lexan. You could, I don't recommend it. But Lexan cuts very similar to fabric in that you can just grab the scissors and then just push them through. You just have to be careful when you do that you don't go off the line. If you do go off the line, hopefully you go off into the scrap Lexan and not into the body. That would be a disaster. I'm sure it happens. All right, so I've cut here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut here, and then I'll probably do another cut over here. I'm not sure about that other cut, but I'm definitely gonna go here. I may not need to do another cut. I'll probably just go at an angle. Let me go ahead and do that. Now I'll grab the curved scissors, and I'm going to start my cut back here. So it's just little fine cuts when you're going around edges and circles. All right, so now I can do this cut. All right. It would probably be easier if I just do a cut here and then here, just to get rid of those angles and that excess material. So I'm going to go ahead and cut right in there. And I'm just going to throw the body just for fun. Here we go. And I'm going to do it to this other side as well. The angles really make it a challenge. So if you get rid of them, it'll make your life easier. And you don't have to go all the way to the body line. You can do that later. So worry about the fine trims later. Right now, I just want to get rid of this excess material to make my life easier. And that's it. So I'm going to continue on, and now I'm going to work with the nose. And there is that little piece there. And I can actually use my straight scissors for almost everything. So I'll use them up to there. And then I can grab these curved scissors. And just remember, it's better to under trim than to over trim. If you under trim, you can always go back and fix it, just remove the excess material. But if you over trim, you know, kind of out of luck on that one. So simply take your time. There we go. All right, and there's one side. So now we need to work on the other. Now, don't worry about those little marks. That's actually just the protective film on your body. I should have used the straight scissors for this. Let's go with the straight scissors. And you can cut circles with straight scissors. It just takes a little more time and patience. There we go. And it's clear leg sand, so I'll figure out where that one dropped later on. But that is it for the main body. So now at this point I can move on to the wings, and we have the front wing, which is this one. It actually comes with two, so I'm just going to cut through and separate one. So here, I'll just go through this line right in here, and then I'll just go through. I may just do a straight cut. It'll probably be easier if I just do a straight cut and separate them. So I'm not going to follow the actual line yet. I'm going to approach it from the other side. Because I'm going to be trimming that little area, that's the reason why I don't mind going through the other side, even though in the center the lines are not going to meet up neatly, because I'm going to be trimming that whole section off. Right now I'm just trying to separate the two wings. So do not throw away the other half, because this is another front wing. So keep that piece. You don't have to trim it right away, but just keep it. Here we go. So now I can use the curved scissors, and this is an instance where curved scissors are really nice, just because of those angles. There we go. And now I just have to trim the rest. Now here you have an option. You can either do a straight cut or you can cut and come down. I'm going to do a straight cut for now. Now the wings I am not going to paint, so I'm going to leave them clear. We can leave them clear at our local racetrack. Well, it's not even that local, it's quite a drive. But be mindful of the rules. Sometimes you do have to paint wings. For example, if you're doing USGT, you need a painted wing. I think most other classes you can get away with a clear wing. Now USGT is touring car, so that's on-road. It's just using that as an example on how there can be certain rules. There it is. I think I'm going to cut that little section off. So this is where the curved scissors really come in handy. This is also where I wish I had the scissors that went the other way, but I don't. Here we go. And almost, just a little snip. All right, just need to clean this side. Perfect. Right, there's also a protective film on here, so you should remove it. And now it's just the rear wing. So once I do the rear wing, after I do the rear wing, I'm going to paint everything up, and then I will show you the final product once everything's painted up. Well, actually, I'll show you how to mount the wing in a bit. Once the body's painted, that way I can just mount the wing and then set the body. So here I'm just following a straight line, and I'm not worried about these curves yet. I will cut those out afterwards. So those are going to be some of my last trims. And this is why I wish I had scissors that went the other way. All right, I knew there was a reason why, or a situation where the blade on the other side would be useful. All right, so now I just have to cut the other direction. There we go. Again, those angles. All right, let's just go ahead and trim some of this off. Oops. Don't want to overcut. There we go. And so I'm just cutting the angle off. Makes it easier to bend the Lex in. There we go. All right, so I have this main part. I'm going to trim these out. I'm not worried about this a little bit because that's all going to come off. But I do want to trim this section. It's somewhat surprising to a point how something so small, well, 1/10 scale, how dramatic of a difference a wing makes in the handling and jumping. So unfortunately with wings, they're not, certain aspects of it, well, one aspect that I'm going to cover shortly, is not very easy to tune without getting multiple wings. So if you will notice that there are two lines, there's a line here and then there's a lower line. You can trim it at either position depending on the amount of drag that you want. The issue is if you're starting or it's a new track or something, you really can't change that unless you get another wing. So really, a recommendation, get another wing and then trim the two differently and then try them out. That's really your only option. All right. Let's see. All right, here we go. Kind of stuck there. So sometimes that is the difficult part. Just going around the different turns. There we go. So now I can use the straight scissors. Now, the one thing I am going to do is I'm going to, when I take this buggy out, I'm going to check the other cars. And then I'm going to see how they're running their wings, and then I'll probably make some, I'll either leave it or I'll trim based on that. First, I have to see my driving, because maybe my driving style is completely different and I need more drag. Maybe it turns out it's just fine for me, the way I set it up. It could be. This is it. So now I just need to trim these two little bits here. And like I said, you can make even reverse circles, you just have to go slower. Even with curved scissors, so you can go the opposite direction. This is always a pain. All right. Let's try this other side. And the last one. Now for the holes, you just need a body reamer. And those are pretty straightforward. There are some wings that will have indentations, multiple indentations, so you can move the wing farther forward or farther back. This wing happens to only have one, so I'm going to leave it there. Later on, if I decide to move it slightly forward, slightly back, I'll probably just ream some new holes or get another wing. We will see. It just depends on the setup. Let's see, is there sharp edges? Nope. This is it. So again, I could trim this bit here. I'm not going to. I'm going to see how it works before I decide. But this is the body. So now there's just a protective film that I need to remove, and it's on the outside. So it's right over here. And I'm only going to remove it off the wings because I'm not painting the wings. I'm not removing it off the body. And the reason why is that protects from the overspray. That film is there just to protect the Lexan during the molding process, shipping, etc. But it's also a very useful thing to have when you're painting so that it protects the exterior from overspray. Just keep in mind that you're going to be painting the interior. There we go. So we have the two wings. Now the body, I want to go ahead and just wash it with dish soap, clean it out, mask it up, and then put some paint.
What? Oh, my hair! My tongue! My rod!